How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition, July 16th, Wager Talk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. The man to my right or left, because I'm confused, is Steve Merrill. Steve, today's show, Carmine Bianco. We're talking about the Gold Cup soccer. He's got a couple of picks on Ted Lasso Season 2. There's a very important game in the first episode, minus 120. And then we've got John Ryan. He's just going to talk. That's it. We're just going to hand him the open mic, and whatever comes out of his incredibly intelligent mouth, we are going to write down. Dude, John Ryan, Steve, I don't know if there's a smarter man around than this guy.
Yeah, no, we got a lot of charts and graphs from John because John has so much going up there in the head that we do not have enough time in the hour show to let him run with it. But yeah, it's actually going to be pretty cool. We have talked about doing a little bit Bitcoin talk and stocks and financials, or stonks as the kids call them now. And John's going to show how he merges his former career as a currency trader, commodity trader, into his current career as a sports bettor. And we're going to do NBA, NFL, and Bitcoin. I know we got a lot of Bitcoin followers out there. We're going to get to that at the end of the show as well.
Yeah, and John fascinates me. I mean, the guy has forgotten more today than I've ever remembered, so or learned. Anyway, we got a great early bird special for you guys. It was a commercial that ran at the beginning of the show. I really encourage you all to take advantage of it. You know, it's literally one of those things. If you know you need a golf club and the golf club is on sale, buy the damn golf club. It's really that simple. So many of you guys are going to be joining us for the football season. You know, Dave Koken's college football last year. Hundreds. Steve, it was unbelievable how many season sales he made last year. Teddy's NFL, same thing. Tony's NFL, Gianni's football. We well into the thousands of people bought their season packages. And you guys out there listening, you're going to do it again. So you might as well do it now and save the money. We've got the way it's going to work ultimately is we're going to be raising the prices every single week. The lowest, cheapest you'll ever get any of their season packages is now. 3 more days. July 18th, we raise the price. So, guys, please take advantage of that. Steve, I lost last night. I was on the over in the Milwaukee Bucks game. I thought maybe we'd get there. It was the first quarter that really did us in. Great performance by Milwaukee. We've got ourselves a series. How did you do last night, and any takeaways from the game?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, I lost as well, but I had the Suns, and I felt, unlike you, who probably kind of felt like you were in trouble the whole game with the over, maybe almost got there. I think that I'd have to go back and check, but the Suns probably covered the first 47 minutes of the game they were covering as a plus 4.5. And my takeaway, once again, is as a 25-year veteran professional handicapper, this is exactly why I don't enjoy watching sports. I probably regular season games, I don't watch a lot of them for that reason. I do my homework. I'll cut in, cut out. I'll watch the box scores. But obviously, NBA Finals Game 4, I do enjoy championship games. I know we're talking about it today, so I watch it. And I didn't enjoy it. I mean, it pissed me off, to be honest. It's my Teddy moment. 5 minutes into the show today, I got my Teddy moment. I was pissed off, Prez, by that outing, because I really do feel like the Suns are the right side. And considering that heavy MVP favorite Chris Paul was minus 270 to win the MVP coming into Game 4 was just god-awful. Had more turnovers and points, basically, for the majority of the game. And they still covered for 90% of the game. So My takeaway is it was a frustrating loss. I know the final result is all that matters, but I feel like I probably had the right side in that one, and the Suns found a way to lose. Game 5, of course, we got to wait a while like we did for Game 4. Game 5 is this Saturday night back in Phoenix. We'll see if the Suns bounce back. The home team is now not only 4-0 straight up, but 4-0 against the spread. And as you said with the over, Prez, the first 4 games, 2 regular season games, 1 and 2, all easily went over. Game 3 landed right on the total, basically. And now we finally got a legitimate under in Game 4. But once again, Chris Paul was terrible. If he'd had a normal game, you get the over, I get the cover. That's really what it came down with. And the guy's heavy favorite to be the MVP odd, a winner coming in, and he cost us both of our bets probably.
Only one game tonight in sports, baseball game, and then we got a full slate tomorrow. Just want to mention to everybody as we get deeper into the summer, starting next week, we're gonna have some more Andrew McGinnis. Andrew McGinnis does not know this yet, but he is listening to the show. He'll come on and talk some Canadian football. Steve, incredible betting opportunities in the CFL. One of the best sports to bet, period. Do you bet it? Do you handicap it? I handicap it and I bet it.
I've gotten closer to doing it because Gabe Morency and I, Gabe, a great Canadian like yourself, Prez, we were talking about it a few weeks ago. The CFL has been around longer than the NFL. In fact, the longest continuous sports franchise in all of sports, I think the Toronto Argonauts are second, actually. But Ottawa, I believe, the Hamilton Tiger, it's Hamilton. The Tiger Cats go back over 150 years before or even like 170 years before any baseball or football team. They were the Tigers. Now they're the Tiger Cats. But yeah, it's been around forever. And I do like the concept of being like an 8-9 league team, Prez, because you can really dig in a lot of head-to-head matchups, a lot of data to go with. But yes, it's a very winnable, bettable sport. And I know Andrew McGinnis has done a lot of work on it. He's got his future wins. He's also got some over-under season win totals. So viewers, let us know in the chats. Let us know in the comments. You follow CFL. Can you bet over-under win totals? Because Andrew wants to release those. He just wants to make sure people can get them.
Yeah, now I'm getting yelled at by people in the chat room. Okay, guys, yes, there are soccer games tonight. Why do you think Carmine Bianco is joining us? It's not because he has the world's most beautiful head. It's because there's soccer going on tonight. Also, really quickly, we will be doing a bunch of Olympic talk as well. We do have handicappers that are going to be doing the Olympics, and I'm curious how they're doing it. Guys like Tony Mejia, just unbelievable in these periphery sports. And, all around, man, Tokyo Brandon with his periphery sports. And it's just amazing opportunities everywhere. Anyway, Steve, let's bring my bald-headed, handsome friend in, Carmine Bianco. Let's start right off the bat with how was Vegas?
Vegas was absolutely fantastic. As a Canadian, where we've been locked down for 14 months to go to Vegas, it felt like I had taken the DeLorean back in time 2 years because people are walking around. It just seemed like normal life again. I got to meet got to see almost all of the crew. Kelly dropped in to our cabana at Circa's Stadium Swim and watched the England-Denmark game. And then I watched the final there, obviously, with a vested interest in Italy, and I was pretty happy about it. 12-1, they came in. A fantastic game, not a great start, but if you watch the game, Press, from the 20-minute mark on, Italy, the Azzurri were the better team in that game. It's a shame it went to penalties. A game should never be decided that way, despite the fact that Italy won in penalties. It's not a way you're supposed to decide a championship game.
So, Carm, let's start with the word fantastic. I don't know how you define a fantastic soccer game. I'm assuming it was fantastic because Italy won, and congratulations, dude. I wore my Italy jersey throughout that game. I was cheering for Italy myself, but a fantastic game it was not. It was about as boring as I could imagine a soccer game to be. I don't even remember anything that stood out to me as like, oh, wow, what a save, like nothing.
Here's the thing
nothing.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The same way you can watch an NHL playoff game, Stanley Cup game that finishes 1-0 and say, wow, that was a great game full of action. You can watch a 1-1 game through 90 minutes in extra time and decide on penalties and think the exact same thing. So
Dude,
it's
I get
beauty
it.
in the
Like,
eye of the beholder. When you watch enough football, you appreciate it.
Dude, I get it. If I was a eunuch, I would not want action either. I'm sure all eunuchs enjoyed that game. Carmine, have you watched Ted Lasso yet?
I haven't. I am just finishing off season 2 of Manifest, which is pretty good. I have a couple episodes left of season 2. Really enjoying that one. Very well written. Very good series.
You
Ted's
gotta
up
watch
next.
Ted Lasso. You gotta watch it. It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you something, no joke. The world would be a better place with more Ted Lasso. Probably the most likable character ever. So, Carm, before we get into it, you and I had a little argument on Twitter. You feel like a violent horse collar tackle preventing a man from running down the field is not worthy of a red card. I don't understand what is or what isn't. I'll grant you that it might be worthy of a yellow card, but then when the guy goes, me? Who? I did something wrong? Well, that automatically moves to red card.
It's
Come
football.
on,
It's 100%. It's a yellow card. It's at the referee's discretion whether it should be a red or not. And a lot of that is based on the fact that if he is the last defender and is bringing a guy down with a clear scoring opportunity as the last defender, it is a red. If it's not called on the field, usually VAR will interject, call the referee to the monitor, and show him the angle showing that that's the last defender. There were 2 Italian defenders behind the ball, which made it a yellow card and not a red. I get it, but it's a moment within the game. There are a ton of moments within the game where Italian midfielders were brought down in midfield when England were stretched in the back, which could have led to goal scoring opportunities. It's just one moment within a game, so you can't look at it, Lawrence.
So
Don't be a prisoner of the moment.
Horse collar tackle. Vicious horse collar tackle. Anyway, we will agree to disagree.
Of the moment. Yes.
Oh, that is some deep, deep stuff there, Carm. Steve, do you feel like I'm a prisoner of the moment?
Yeah, you probably aren't the exact textbook example of prisoner of the moment because Carm, he moves on pretty quickly from moment to moment, but I get the point.
Let's get into it, Carm. Haiti versus Canada tonight. Canada minus 300, Haiti plus 800, a draw at plus 333. Canada comes off of a 4-1 win over Martinique. And they have some history against this Haiti side. I'm cheering for Haiti, Carm. They've had some issues. They had an assassination situation. They can barely find food to eat. We've got an incredible life here. I'd like to give Haiti speaking of prisoner of the moment, they deserve happiness. I'm cheering for Haiti. Boo, Canada. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, it's putting all the political strife that's going on there behind us. They're in a bit of trouble. They missed. There was 5 players missing in their 1-0 loss to the US. They played well despite it. Obviously, COVID is always a big thing in these tournaments. They're missing an additional 2 players tonight, so they'll have 7 guys out of the lineup against this Canada team, who they just about a month ago played 2 World Cup qualifying games. Canada won over the 2 games 4-0 on aggregate to advance to the next round, and Canada's 9-2-2 against this Haiti team. Obviously, the one difference here is, Lawrence, as I know you watch the Canada games, is we're missing some players who are back with their teams. Alphonse Davies injured. Yeah. He's got a torn ligament in his ankle, I think, so he is going to miss some time with Bayern Munich. Jonathan Davies, another big part of this team, is missing, but they still have a bunch of talent on this Canadian team. and they should beat this Haiti side. You can't play these big numbers, so you have to look at goal lines. But the one thing is you have a when they beat Haiti over those two games, it was Alphonse Davies up the left side. They just kept beating them repeatedly. Those balls to Davies, and his speed got them. On the right side, they had Tejan Buchanan, who plays for the New York Revs. He's gonna play in an inverted role tonight. He'll be on the left side. They're gonna do the same thing. You watch the game. There's gonna be going up and down the left side, trying to beat them there. You can't lay 300. The prices, unfortunately, in the games we're reviewing today are a little high. So you've got to look at the goal lines. But you can take Canada to win 3-0 tonight plus 700, or 2-0 plus 500. They're favored by a goal and a half, and this likely lands on either 2-0 or 3-0 for Canada.
And Carm, since Prez got Canada his home country, I'm going to look at my home country for our next game, the USA against Martinique. And you talked about big numbers. We won't even quote the money line in this one because it's just not worth messing with. But first of all, explain how you like this game, how you would play it. USA is minus 2.75 goals. And I guess, first of all, explain to the listeners and the viewers the difference between 2.5 and 2.75, because obviously in ball and stick sports, basketball, football, it's either 2, 2.5, 3. So USA minus 2.75 goals. How would you play this and explain that line?
Yeah, the 2.75, it's an Asian split line, and it does confuse a lot of people. But essentially, you're taking the middle of a line of 2.5 and 3. So if you're betting $100 on 2.75, 50 of your bet is on minus 2.5, 50 of it is on minus 3. So if the game lands on 3, you push half your bet, you win half your bet. If they win by 4, obviously you win your full bet. It's the only way to bet this line. It's likely going to sit at minus 3 by game time. You also get some. They'll get more action on this game. I just can't see Martinique scoring a goal. They got one against Canada. It was on a defensive error. I just don't see them scoring against this U.S. team. And this is a U.S. team missing a lot of players because a lot of them are heading back to Europe. You have Christian Pulisic of Chelsea heading back. A little bit of rest before their training camp has started. You have Sergino Dest, who plays for Barcelona. You have Weston McKennie, who plays for Juventus. They're all players that would normally be playing for this team, but this isn't as big a tournament, obviously, as the Euros or the Copa America that both just completed. So you're looking at, again, a U.S. team that is mainly MLS-based players. Still a good contingent there, but it's a heavy MLS-based team that is playing this game. They are one of the favorites to win this. And again, you can't lay the money line on this. Even laying the 2.75 is a stretch here, but the USA should cover this. And again, we're looking at, you can even look at some exact score prices. You can take the USA to win 4-0 at plus 500. You could take the USA to win 5-0 at plus 750. The U.S. is going to win this game. They're not going to allow a goal as I see it. So this is going to be one of those games that lands on 3, 4, or 5. So you can take either the goal line and lay the 2.75, or you can take a couple props and take the 4-0 at plus 500 and the 5-0 at plus 750. I've advised some of my clients to do that with some of their plays, and we've hit one the other day with a 4-0 score line paying at plus 550, I think it was. So it does happen in these tournaments.
Carmine Bianco, everyone. Carm, outstanding stuff, dude. Well, we missed you at the poker tournament a few nights ago, but I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you had fun in Vegas, and I know I FaceTimed you after Italy won, and you were like emotional, dude. There were tears dripping down your face.
Yeah, it was. You know what I mean? Watching the Italian team go through what they did, but it just brought back memories, Prez. I don't think you ever got a chance to meet my dad, but in 2006, when Italy won the World Cup, my dad was ill that year. I took him to watch as many games as I could, including the final. He passed away a couple months later, but he got to see his team win the World Cup one final time in 2006. So it kind of brought back memories of that, watching Italy lift that European trophy.
Excellent stuff. Carmine Bianco, everyone. Carm, are you going to be tackling the Olympics at all?
I do. I have some plays up. I will throw out one real quick one for you guys. The men's soccer gold medal, you can get still 250 on it, plus 250 on it. Take Spain to win the men's gold medal in the soccer competition, soccer football competition. They have a fantastic team. 6 or 7 of the players for this team just played in the Euros. Just a wealth of talent on that Spain team. The second choices, I think, are Brazil, but obviously Neymar and a couple of the others won't be playing for them. I think Spain's team is stacked, and at plus 250, grab them now because it'll probably go a lot lower.
Carmine Bianco, everyone. Outstanding stuff, brother. Get out of here. Come by the pool one of these days already, would you?
I will drop in.
Okay. Anything to promote quick?
Yeah, quickly.
My bad, Dan.
You can use coupon code. Sorry, you can use coupon code GOLD100 and get you can get $100 off a 1-month soccer package that normally is priced at $199. You can get a month of soccer plays for $99, and I have a 5% play loaded up for the weekend in MLS soccer. So right there, it's a pretty good deal.
Excellent stuff. Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com. Steve Merrill, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with some John Ryan. No big game breakdown today, but you and I will chat John Ryan up in a few minutes. Commercial break? No
Steve
commercial
Merrill's
break?
picked up plus 22% in profit the past 30 days for his WagerTalk clients. And right now, if you purchase the month of August, all sports released, any 5% best bets, for the regular price, we will include the rest of July for free. Close to $300 value. As soon as you make your purchase, you have an instant access to Steve's plays all the way through the end of August.
Steve Merrill, you started with the NFL already at college football? You deep into the numbers?
Yeah, actually, I have a full conference breakdown for college football, which I've completed. And I keep forgetting to reach out to the office for Wager Talk and let them know we got to do something with it. So, yeah, we can start talking some college football. Obviously, the NFL I've dug into also, but I've actually done my conference preview for when you put in the independents and the divisions, there's like 17 conferences and divisions. I've got my favorites to win each. I've got a couple long shot sleepers in each. So, yeah, I've been digging pretty deep into college football. And, of course, the NFL preseason starts 3 weeks from tonight, Prez. 3 weeks from tonight,
Yeah.
Steelers, Cowboys. And don't forget, there's only 3 preseason games this year because there's an extra regular season game. So It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. And starting next week, we're going to be taking apart, we're going to start doing some deep dives into both the NFL and college football. That'll begin on Monday. Tomorrow's show, Rob Vino and Ski Profits. One of our listeners, Elliot, one of the best guys ever. He wrote Carm, Canada or Haiti. Elliot, you weren't listening. Carm suggested Canada, I think 2-0. 2-0 or 3-0. That's the way he suggests you bet that game. Let's bring John Ryan in. And John, a fascinating man that you are, my friend. Welcome to Wager Talk today. Dude, have you ever had an IQ check? I mean, how high is your IQ?
I don't know how high it is, but it's not as high as Tony Finn's. I know that, so it's not
That's a
worth
good
any
point.
time. You'll get an IQ test because I know I'm not going to.
So we're not
exceed
comparing. We're not comparing your IQ and Tony Finn on edibles. Like when we say high, we're talking about a different type of high, like high up. But yeah, Tony Finn and you, that would be quite the show. I don't think you'd need anybody else. The two of you would just talk and talk and talk. Anyway, welcome to Wager Talk Today.
Friends, I'll give him a quick plug because every day at 4:00 Eastern on his YouTube channel through Sportsmemo, he does Manny's Irish Pub, and it is Tony Finn and John Ryan, and Rob Vino is usually there caught in the middle as well. And we all know how great Rob Vino is. So, yeah, if you would like to see John and Tony on a daily basis, you can do so around 4 Eastern. And then, of course, the replay is on Predictive Playbook, I guess would be the channel for John Ryan on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah. So, John, let's talk about that. I mean, you're one of the hardest working guys in this industry. You do 2 shows on a regular basis. Tell us quick about each.
Well, I do. There's been 7 different guests from sportsmemo.com doing one-on-ones with me now, and we're trying to build that up. So the goal is to have everybody. That may not be possible, but we'll get as many as we can. And then it's a culmination of the whole day. Everybody talks to people. They have their own resources, and then we all gather at the virtual pub, Manny's Irish Pub, and it's just like we're sitting at a bar, having a few pints and talking sports. It's a lot of fun.
Minus the bar and the.
Yeah, he's got it in the
drinks.
background actually. But the other
I know,
thing
I
too
saw
is,
it. It looks great.
Tony Finn actually talks about which countries don't extradite. I think he's named over 20 now on the show, John. So there's also some good information there for those that are in the Tony Finn world. Tony brings an element, like John said, that's different than all of us.
John, what does your hat say?
Titleist.
Oh, I'm good
for
for a fitting.
the Open Championship. Yeah, I always work off a tire when there's a major.
Yeah, I normally wear clothes on a regular basis. V-neck shirts, to be honest with you. John, you started your career in the investment world. Give us a quick, brief background, and then how you moved into sports betting and how you sort of used what you learned as an investor in the sports betting market.
Sure. Started in the early 80s in investment banking, and then was hired by a lot of investment banks up on Wall Street. My last position was a chief currency strategist. As you may remember, I had got stricken with a rare blood cancer in 2000. Was given 6 to 12 months, and here I am. But that changed everything, and I had started really looking into sports because of the similarities between sports markets, sports betting, as compared to the financial markets. And Steve and I have done a weekly show now on Bitcoin and a lot of other different financial vehicles to that end, and then tie them back into what we see in the sports market field. So that's about it. I know that was a quick summary, but
we want quick. Let's get into NBA in-game betting. I know you do it a lot. I want to give us a breakdown of sort of talk conceptually. Like, what are you looking for?
I'll try to keep this on a high level for obvious reasons. So in the financial markets, there's a term called implied volatility, and it has to do with the calculation of what a fair value for an option is as compared to its underlying security. So you can buy call options, which is bullish, put options is bearish on an Apple computer. And depending on how bullish you are, will dictate what the implied volatility and the cost of owning that option. So during COVID, I actually hit me with the NBA and the volatility we see during an NBA game in terms of the scoring. So, for example, one of the simplest things I do and I teach my clients is we have a total for Game 5 of 218.5 points, and Phoenix is favored by 4. So let's say you like Phoenix. You can take a strategy based on implied volatility calculations, take 50% on Phoenix of your normal bet pre-flop, and then during the game, do 2 different 25% bets at Phoenix at pick and then Phoenix at plus 2.5. The other strategy is that you simply look for a 10-point unanswered run by Milwaukee, and then you would bet Phoenix 25%. And if it happens again, you do it again. But it really impacts the totals. 218.5 is the total for Game 5. So what I'm suggesting is for people who like the under, you would do 50% pre-flop at that level. Then you would bet 226 for another 25% and 229.5. For the over, the levels are 207 points and 211.5, 25% each. Again, you would bet 50% over before the game starts. So the negative of this strategy is that sometimes you won't get those other 25% filled. And that's okay because you're 50%, long, so to speak, already. The odds are very, very good that you're going to win that 50% bet if you don't get the other two.
Yeah, and John, I love
Steve.
this is a perfect example of how you have merged, the financial world into the sports betting world. This is something you've done with options and all the other markets over the years. And this really became noticeable to me. We talked about this all year long, but the NCAA tournament, Gonzaga especially, so many of their games, there's about a 30-point swing this year within the totals in game. I think it was the second or third round game. The total was around 148, ended up 141, but the in game was 174 at one point before they kind of called off the horses.
Yep.
So you're exactly right. You want to always look for adjusted value. The last thing you want to do with in-game betting is take the inflated price. If a team is -4, you don't play them at -9. You look to play the underdog at +9 at that point. So the pre-flop poker analogy, I know Prez has a big poker background as well, so I know he appreciates that. But yeah, it's pre-flop, post-flop is in-game. I want to transition, before we get to Bitcoin, I want to transition over, though, to the NFL. We're starting to talk more football here in the show. You just put out a video yesterday, I believe, actually, on the Predictive Playbook channel through sportsmemo.com. You basically went through and took the point spread for every regular season NFL game as a starting point. Just kind of explain to us in a minute or so, what you're doing there in the NFL and how you're going to use that data.
Well, thanks to the Westgate, we have all 18 weeks of the NFL 274 regular season games. We have the side and totals. And with that information, I'm able to calculate what these teams and what the market is saying right now these teams are going to do for the season. So I can calculate what the Tampa Bay Bucks are going to average in road games, what they're going to average points per game at home. How are they going to do when they're favored by 3 or more points scoring? And you can just keep drilling and drilling and drilling through this database to get some really good value. So the other thing that's going to be really cool with this, and I'm going to keep doing this every single week for the NFL and college, is that we have baselines now established by Westgate. So it will be interesting to see how the sentiment of the market affects these teams going forward. So if you have a Jets team that last year was terrible and the year before that was terrible, sentiment negative, somewhat better coming into the season, say they rip off 4 in a row, all of a sudden you're going to see swings that are pretty big in sentiment. And what a game might have been lined where they're a 3.5-point underdog in week 6 right now, they might actually be favored by 3.5. And the wider that gap is, the greater the opportunity is to bet that game. So that's the exciting thing about it. And then I'm tying in some machine learning stuff with what I've done with the NBA, with doing sentiment analysis during the playoffs with Twitter.
John, you're going to need to figure out how to dumb this down, because you are taking sports betting to the next level, and I am so impressed with it. I mean, a lot of us just don't think like you, flat out. I'm floored by how you're attacking sports betting. I'm so impressed. But man, I consider myself a fairly smart dude. I get lost in your wisdom. I just want to let you know. I'm so impressed, though, with how you're looking at all of this. I want to ask you a few questions, and we'll get into Bitcoin. When your customers buy, say, a month package, I mean, are you just laying this all out on a daily basis? Are you then, letting them know your in-game thoughts, the thought process, the strategies? What does someone who plays you get?
Well, for example, in football, especially college football, the number 28 comes up quite a bit on the models. So if we're talking about an Oklahoma game and the models are saying bet Oklahoma, and they have a very high probability based on the model projections that they're going to score more than 28, then I can go into the history and say, you know what? The Sooners, when they score 28 or more points in road games, are 85% against the spread. That is something that is very simple, and it's a high-level overview of what you're going to see in the game. And then, more importantly, when these games don't win, the customer can then see, based on the projections, that, you know what, those projections didn't come through in the game. And that's one of the many reasons why we lost the game. So I think that's where I kind of draw the line, and I don't drill down too far. NBA, I use scoring over the league average of 112 points, and then assist to turnover ratio is big time important in my analysis. So when I get situations where assist to turnover ratio favors the one team's supposed to score more than the league average, that's a powerful combination.
Yeah, it's just awesome stuff. John Ryan, everyone. Guys, 24 likes. Are you kidding me? We got probably the brain of sports betting on the show with us today. Oh, shut up, John. I'll be as arrogant about you as I want. My show. Hit that like button, man. I mean, we're taking sports betting to the next level. John, let's get into Bitcoin and it's really, really appropriate. I mean, woke up today, 31.5 right now per coin for Bitcoin. We're just seeing an unbelievable plummet for the last little while, but it's been slow and somewhat steady. The next few days are gonna be crucial because we have dropped 1,000 in the last day. 30,000 is sort of that stopgap number that we don't want to go under. And we are hovering there now. Ethereum has just gotten completely destroyed as well. Cardano is down. Those are the three that I'm bullish on from a long-term perspective. But now, I mean, a month ago, Ethereum 28. Now it's 18, 19. Help us understand what to do, short-term and long-term.
Well, the one thing I can tell you with the shows I've done with Steve is that we don't actually trade the Bitcoin or the actual exchange. We're trading the futures. And that allows us to short the market. And what that means is you're selling first. And then if the price collapses, you make all that money just as you would have if you would have done it reverse. So sentiment is big in the marketplace. And it's also big in sports betting. We all know that when in sports betting, you get 80% of the bets on a given team. That team sometimes doesn't win the game. And there's a shocking upset. Same thing in the financial markets, and I learned this a long time ago. When you get too many bulls, like we had in Bitcoin at 58, 60,000, and Steve was one of the first guys to actually call the potential for the top, which was a great call, obviously. And I tailed along with him, and then my stuff kicked in, and it was pretty good. Now we're in the opposite. Now you go out there, and you might be sitting in a bar and you hear a conversation about Bitcoin, it would be pretty rare because nobody really wants to talk about it because they kind of had their faces ripped off now.
Yeah.
Before that, you would have talked about it a lot. But right now, sentiment is getting to a buy level. And you can see the chart here. On that chart, that's every day, every bar is a day. If it's green, the close is higher than the open. If it's red, it's a bad day. The close is lower than the open. Now, depending on these patterns that are Japanese candlestick patterns, we get things called engulfing candles and doji candles. Engulfing candles are exactly that. They are higher and lower than the previous day. Dojis, the open and the close are the same, and that means that the market attempted a rally, attempted to sell off, and found equilibrium. So that equilibrium then becomes a potential sea change. And I would love to see Bitcoin actually get one of those here in the next week because I'm more of a buyer now than a seller for sure. But the danger is that Steve and I talked on Tuesday that we're now getting to that 30,000. And you can see on the chart, there's lower highs every single week going through this thing. It's not bouncing. It's, dead cat bounce. And I am concerned that we're going to get another capitulation. But that would be great for guys like us that want to be buyers of Bitcoin. And it could be 22,000, but it's going to be, if it breaks, it's going to be violent. And it's going to really get people's attention. And then, you have the liquidation, and then all of a sudden the people who are astute enough to get in there and start nibbling are gonna benefit.
Yeah, and John, I want to if Dan can pull the chart up one more time. If you look since July 1st, it's what's called a trading range, and these are technicals, Prez, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is voodoo, it's just technicals. But what every bar on there is price action, and there's only one truth in the financial markets, and that's the price. The truth when you woke up this morning is no longer the truth, and when you go to bed tonight, that'll be the new truth. It's what the price is, and we can make arguments why one way or the other, but there's a buyer for every seller. It's a zero-sum game. Because once again, this is the futures market. These are futures contracts. So everybody's either long or short. There's a buyer for every seller. And just look at that sideways pattern for the last 2 months. You can just see how it's trending sideways. Look how volatile it was before that. We go back to exactly 3 months ago yesterday, April 14th, 64,800. And now it's around 31,000. That's how much it's fallen in the last 3 months. But I agree. I've been bearish. I've been short since the high 50s. But I think we finally have an opportunity here to go long with a very tight stop loss. This is my last thing on Bitcoin before we move on. You have to have an exit strategy. So many people, when John and I do our shows on Tuesday afternoon on the Predictive Playbook, are like, where do you think Bitcoin's going? And we're both like, we don't know for sure, but I have a game plan. I'm either going to be long or short depending on when it hits different limits. It has not broken down below 30,000 yet. It's crashed all the way from 64 to 30, but it keeps holding that bottom, that floor, that resistance. And it's been sideways now for about 9 straight days between 31 and 33, including today. So it's a great opportunity. And once again, we're not financial advisors, we're traders. But in our opinion, this is a great time to get long if you want a long-term perspective on Bitcoin with a very tight short stop loss. Because if it breaks 30, it hits 29 or 28, I would get out because then it could plummet. Then the floor is broken. But yeah, the risk reward right now for the first time in months is really good to the upside. And yeah, Prez, I'll throw it back to you real quick. Any closing thoughts on Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to know from John real quick. And Steve, you mentioned if it drops below 30, it could plummet. I mean, I started buying Bitcoin in March 18, around $4,000, $2.5 grand, right, somewhere around there. So I mean, I'm literally playing with house money, as they say, although I hate that statement. I'm in this for the long run. I mean, look, I'm very vested, flat out. I am holding serious sums of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. And I don't spend many days looking at the price. It'll kill me. I'm looking at this as, where is this going to be in 3 years? And people are always saying to me, when do I buy? Do I buy now? Is it going down more? Should I wait? I don't play that game. I don't play the try to buy it at the lowest and sell it at the highest. I play the, where is it going to be in 3 years? If it's going to be more in 3 years than it is today, I'm going to buy today. And if I lose some value along the way, so be it. So my question ultimately is, where is this going to be all in 3 years' time? John?
Oh, I think it's going to be a lot higher than where it is right now. And you make a great point about being almost anal about the level that people buy. And when you're working on the floor like I was, it's very important. Every single tick in action is extremely important, especially with crude oil and when we did have pits. But in a situation like this, even a long-term investor like yourself probably can benefit from the two strategies we outlined. It's going to hold, and then we're going to get confirmation from the candlestick patterns that it's time to buy. Then the other option is that, no, we're going to get the capitulation. We're going to have a massive, very swift sell-off that could last 2 days. Hit maybe, I don't know, maybe it could go down to low 22s because there's so many stop loss orders under 30,000 because everybody and their brother sees that. And a stop loss is where somebody has an order in and says, well, if it hits that, I'm done. I'm out of here. I don't want any more of that. But that's when you get these golden opportunities that the market runs all these stops out and gets to a level that's so attractive that you just, you do 25% of your normal position pre-flop, or you add 10% of what your current position is to that position. You just kind of test the waters during an event like that.
Yeah, and
So
real quick, Prez,
go ahead,
he brings up a great money management concept that we can transition back into sports betting as well. We talk about the in-game betting. John keeps talking about pre-flop and post-flop, 25, 50% before the game, 25% at a better number in the game, 25% at another better number. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. And I told people this the last few months. They're like, should I get out? You don't have to buy or sell 100% of your position. You can scale in and scale out. And that's a great emotional hedge, by the way, because if it does go up more, you still make money. If it goes down, you've lost less because you've gotten a little bit out. So I forget we have to mention that. It's not all or nothing. If you you have a large position, Prez, you could scale in slowly.
Well,
you could scale out below 30, scale out more at 25, in case it like you said, and quick, to be a quick correction. These pros know the stop losses, so they'll make it drop really quick.
Absolutely.
And then it'll come right back.
Yeah.
So that's a good money management segment.
Steve, my advice to everybody, and the strategy that I use religiously, literally no matter what, black and white, no gray. The minute you get a double, you take your principal off the table and you ride. And I do that with every investment I make. I bought Score stock at 35 cents, went all the way to $5. The minute it got to 72 cents, I sold my principal. Then I rode. I did the same with DraftKings. I did the same with Caesars. I'm big into all the gambling stock. I did the same with Bitcoin when I started buying at 2,500. I mean, the first time around, I started buying Bitcoin in 2008, $500, $400, $500. Sold in 2017. So my statement to everybody is that if you are lucky enough to get a double, and you won't get those often, take your principal off the table and ride the rest. Really quick, Ripple. Dan Smith asks us about it, and I'll just throw my thoughts at you, and then John and Steve, if you have any. I say stay. Look, I have Ripple. I have, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 of them. No, but I think I have 13,000. It's a very small position. I don't know why I have it. I got caught up in the XRP. But the bottom line that I'm saying to people is everybody is in a different situation. I'm in what I call wealth preservation. I'm not trying to make a whole shit ton of money in the stock market. I'm trying to keep my money whole and make, 8 to 12% a year. And if that's the case, I'm ecstatic for the rest of my life. Most of you guys are in money requirement situation where if you have a chance to throw $1,000 down and it turns into 10 grand, yeah, but it also can turn into zero. So take that into account. If you're trying to accumulate wealth, Ripple is a good thing to buy. So is Cardano. If you are trying to protect wealth, neither of those are good things to buy. John and Steve, anything to add?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll kind of close it out for all of us because, John and I obviously do the future market, so we don't mess. There's no futures contracts on Ripple. There is on Ethereum and Bitcoin. But big picture takeaway for me, and by the way, John and I cover a lot of other markets. I'm going to put a link down here in the comments section here on YouTube from Tuesday's show where we talked about crude oil, S&P, some other stuff we didn't get to. Predictive Playbook, John Ryan, sportsmemo.com. But once again, this all comes down to a game plan and money management, whether it's sports betting or financial markets betting. You need to have an exit strategy on your buys and sells. You need to have proper money management, and you need diversification, which means you play non-correlated assets, the S&P, gold, Bitcoin, things that don't move together. Same thing with WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. The prop master, Andy Lang, who's been on this week, does golf and NASCAR. John has an artificial intelligence model for his sports handicapping. A lot of guys are, Dave Koken, he watches every game. I'm more statistically based. Use all of our packages. Have a non-correlated, non-diversified portfolio of sports betting, just like you do the financial markets. John, I'll throw it over to you to close out. Predictive Playbook, let us know where we can find you and anything else you got going on at sportsmemo.com.
Yeah, real quick, when you look at a chart or you look at a chart of how a team is scoring, the chart tells you the story. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to just be able to interpret a chart and know that, okay, that looks pretty good, that doesn't. And, I highly recommend just letting the chart tell you what it's telling you. A lot of times we don't want to hear what it's telling us. And as a result, we make mistakes. But that's the takeaway I'll take from this show. But you can find me at sportsmemo.com. Ryan7 promo code gets 7 days for just $39, all access starting today. So needless to say, I want you guys to go out there and buy that package. And I appreciate Steve and the Prez having me on here and mentioning Manny's Irish Pub, which is a fun show, but it's also very informative. I've gotten a lot of messages, direct messages from people that have been very appreciative of what we're doing. So we'll just keep aiming higher here and just try to make it better.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to come on the investment show one of these days. Made a lot of money in rhodium. I made a lot of money in platinum. So I'm with you, Steve. I am so diversified. I mean, people don't even know what rhodium is. Rhodium is the highest grossing investment in the last 5-7 years. It blows Bitcoin away. That stuff is gone. I mean, I don't think we're going to see much value in buying rhodium right now, but yeah, I love what you said, Steve. Be all over the map, especially when they're not linked together. Anyway, that's it, guys. Great show, man. I can talk this stuff all day. Commodities, is sugar going up? Is oil going up? Oh, I mean, there's money to be made. Cocoa leaves, on and on and on. Guys, thank you all for watching Wager Talk today. Tomorrow's show, all sports. Rob Vino, Hakeem Prophet, Steve Merrill will join us. John, you are a man of high intellect and also a wonderful guy. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.